Hello and welcome to the Media Mag podcast, the podcast for the students of film and media studies. I'm writer and filmmaker Giles Goff, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. The response to our last episode has been absolutely fantastic, and we really love that. But in between regular episodes, what we're going to do is a little interview with somebody who's in the media industry. We've got a careers download section in our magazine, and this is the accompanying podcast to it. Some of you might be thinking about possible careers in film and media. So these podcasts will introduce you to people not that much older than you, doing a range of different jobs in this industry. So today, it's my absolute pleasure to interview Lindsay Walker. Lindsay is a Welsh filmmaker. She hails from the same part of North Wales as I do. I first met Lindsay back in 2014 when we were both working on Phil's short film Empty Space, and I've been watching her career with great interest ever since. And Lindsay's latest film, The Welshman, has just won a BAFTA. So, Lindsay, I bet you are absolutely flying on a cloud right about now.
Absolutely, I'm on cloud nine. I did not think that The Welshman was going to win a BAFTA at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just completely, it hasn't sunk in yet. I've just got a constant smile on my face in a minute.
Yeah,
so.
Quite right. I mean, I would be impossible to live with if that was me. It's like, well, I know it's my turn to put the bins out, but BAFTA here, so I don't know, you know.
When I get the award, I'll definitely be pulling that.
See if you can get out parking tickets, you know, see how it goes. So, yeah. Just quickly, tell us, in simple terms, what is your job?
I'm a filmmaker, is how I would describe it, photographer and filmmaker. So, yeah, it's not really more complex than that. It's just quite simply, I've always got a camera in my hand, basically.
Yeah, I know that feeling. So, obviously, filmmaker can look like very different things for different people. So, what does being a filmmaker mean for you? What does that look like on you? For
me, I guess I love all aspects of production. I guess my strengths are more in camera and more in editing, but all aspects of it, anything I can be a part of, I absolutely love it. So I guess for me, it just means producing some sort of creative, output, that kind of thing, really. Yeah, I guess it means just being able to create content, tell stories, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get stuff out there.
What was your route into the media industry? My
route was slightly different, I guess. I did get a couple of jobs on production sets. One of them was a 10-day shoot as a second assistant camera, and it almost broke me. It really made me not want to be in the industry, and it was with Americans as well, which was quite hard because they kind of have like a different language, like a different shorthand to what we do. And, things were being asked of me and I just had no idea, what was being said. It was like a different language. And,
my first experience of film sets was working on like Welsh soap. So literally some of the commands I still say in Welsh and then I have to remember to sort of say them in English, otherwise no one's going to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm quite a sensitive person as well, really. I find things quite overwhelming in life anyway, and I really struggled the first 3 days, and then as I broke past that and kind of sort of stuck with it and got to know people, all of that just fell away, and it became like learning how to drive almost. It was just like I could hear things that were going to be asked of me before they were asked of me, and I was on it, And then actually everybody on set, the Americans, are so lovely to work with compared to sometimes English people on set. Sometimes English people can maybe be a bit like behind your back, whereas Americans, it's like if you're not doing it right, they tell you to your face, and then we move on, and we get on with the job. Yeah, so I had a few jobs like that. A few of them weren't particularly very nice. That one I hold in good memories, but a few of them did kind of affect my confidence quite a lot. So I decided to take a break from that because it was affecting my love for film.
Yeah.
And I just decided to focus on my own stuff, my own short films, my own music videos, just own production, trying to get a portfolio out there, really, of what I could do. Ironically, the both of them have helped me get a foot in a door, with a production company, but equally set up on my own. So I work freelance, but I have my own sort of production company as well. And that, for me, right now, is a perfect balance. So yeah, just 1 foot in, 1 foot out, a bit of both, really.
I know exactly how you feel on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the best thing about being a filmmaker?
the best thing for me about being a filmmaker is being able to tell stories and share inspiration, inspire other people to make things or be a part of things. And I guess, just drumming up this idea in my head and then it becoming this physical thing is really special. From the moment that you kind of think about it and think that's not possible to the moment that you're kind of producing it or showing it to somebody is the nicest feeling. Is getting that kind of feedback on it, I guess. I guess that's kind of egotistical, but that's what it is. It's this. I guess it's connection. Having somebody else go, oh yeah, I get that. Yeah. Making that connection with other people.
Putting something out into the world that you feel speaks to somebody in some way.
Definitely, and having them react, good or bad. Any reaction is good. If somebody sat there and they're not feeling anything, that's the worst possible thing that you want as a filmmaker.
Yes,
if somebody sat there and they're getting angry, you're like, good, get angry, So, yeah.
So then what would you say is the worst thing about being a filmmaker?
The worst is the kind of darker side of your ego and that doubt. It plagues creative people, and it's something I struggle with definitely, where I come up with an idea or I really have this burning desire to do something and to be proactive, and then my doubt kind of holds me back and says, you can't do that. That's stupid, you won't be able to achieve that, you need help, or you can't do that on your own. And so that's a constant battle with yourself. It's just constant between you and you,
100%, that's the person I find myself in competition with the most is me.
Absolutely. It's a horrible feeling.
So what advice would you give to young people wanting to work in the media industry?
The biggest advice I could give is to just keep making stuff, keep producing your own work. Don't wait for things to come to you. That's the biggest secret of the industry, if you like. I genuinely think there's a miscommunication somewhere with creatives coming through, that they think that's how the industry works. Like somebody from the BBC is just going to come and find you specifically. It doesn't happen, You really have to go and knock the door down and make your own stuff and be like, look what I've made. It has to be like that. You have to have this element of not big-headedness, just confidence in what you're doing, and that you're the right person to tell that story.
You've got to believe that you've got something worth saying that people need to hear.
Absolutely, and I've always had this real struggle with the word talent. Mm-hmm. A few people have said to me over the years, "Oh, you're so talented," and I think, "Am I really? Am I not just persistent? Am I not just hard-headed? Am I not just? Yes, I've maybe got an eye for certain things and can tell a story, but does that come down to talent? Is it not that I've just been making films for 10 years over and sharpening the tool and putting stuff out there and just being persistent? That for me is the biggest advice: is to just keep pushing."
Absolutely. I think I found it's really hard to give up on your dreams, is what I found. I've tried sort of chasing a regular job or a respectable job, and it doesn't give you the same boost that putting something creative out into the world does.
Definitely not. It starts to eat away at you if you're not doing what you love.
And just side point, if you're not okay with me asking about these, then that's
whatever
okay.
You like.
Obviously, you're a Welsh filmmaker and you're part of the LGBTQ community. Your film Bound was about a relationship between two young women who meet at university, or at least one of them's at university, one's a lecturer, and that did stupendously well. In what ways do you think those aspects of your identity impact your storytelling?
Massively, to be honest, and I think it's I hid my sexuality for years, or felt like years, and Bound was really a coming out for me. And the moment that I stopped shying away from who I was and what I knew, and that's the difference with filmmaking as well, is just make what you know, and I started to find even things like as a teenager I loved poetry. Yeah. And so I started incorporating poetry into my films. It's in Bound, that narration at the end of Bound. That's what the film came from. I wrote that and then I made the film.
Well, the whole film feels like a poem, really, doesn't it? It feels very evocative.
Yeah. So I think just accepting all aspects of yourself and knowing how you individually are different is a massive thing, because only you have this specific perspective to tell the story. So kind of being accepting of my sexuality and opening up to that and not shying away from it and trying to make that connection with other people.
Yeah.
Being authentic has had a massive impact on my work and where my career has sort of gone since then, definitely.
And it feels quite freeing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's like when I put Bound, I mean, I made Bound, I think I finished it in the April, and I didn't put it out until September. It was ready in April, and I really hesitated. I couldn't get it out, and in the end, it was a friend of mine, Aled here, who's a great filmmaker as well. And he messaged me. He's gay as well. So now I think, oh, in hindsight, yeah, that's what that was about. He was just like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Just put the film out." And I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe at some point." It's like, "No, I've seen it. Put it out. Get it out there. Just do it. Just do it now." And it was like the next day, I was just like, right, okay, yep. I just needed somebody to say,
Yeah.
Don't be a baby, get it out there, and I'm so glad I did. People just latched onto it.
It got over 1 million views, didn't it?
It's over 1 million views on YouTube, yeah. And
For an original piece of work, that is insane. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just a film about unrequited love,
Yeah.
Man, woman, boy, girl. It's the same feeling. Anybody that's had that unrequited love feeling, anybody can identify with that.
Absolutely, 100%. So, what's next for you?
Next for me is the second I'm working on another documentary. It's an investigative piece. It's a much bigger project than I've ever taken on before, ever. But I'm kind of taking my time with that. I'm trying to enjoy some of the success of The Welshman. It's been a chaotic year, and I'm not complaining. I have absolutely loved every minute of touring The Welshman up and down Wales in the cinemas and stuff. Yeah, I'm just trying to let that sink in as to, that we've just won a BAFTA, and the success that it's had is just brilliant. I've got another documentary on the boil, and then because of the success of The Welshman, I really, really want to turn it into a feature film. I mean, we filmed with Owain for the documentary for 2 hours, and the documentary is only 40 minutes. Yeah. So there's a lot, there's so much more going on there. And I just think it's crying out for it to be on the big screen, for it to be a feature. So I'm working on that at the minute. It's a slow process. I'm on page 11 of the screenplay. But
that's how you get to page 12 and so on.
Yeah.
Listen, Lindsay, after watching that film, I cannot wait to see the feature-length version of it, because that would be absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
The Media Mag podcast is hosted and created by Giles Goff and Phil Coleman. This episode was mixed and edited by Giles. That's me. Our theme tune is composed by Rick Lee, and our logo was designed by Rebecca Scambler. Our executive producer is Claire Pollard. The Media Mag podcast is a Dask production, created for the English and Media Centre. Please rate and review. Unless it's a 1-star, in which case, please tell Phil by spray painting your thoughts on the building opposite his flat.